The Tower of London. This is one of my favourite places in London. It's just so steeped with historical legend and bloody history. It's now, of course, the guardian of the crown jewels and a museum, but it has been in its past a fortress, a prison, and an execution site, most famously for the likes of Anne Boleyn, as well as an armory. Traitor's Gate is, of course, the famously labelled gate by the river, which is where the condemned would enter the tower by boat to await their fate. Lady Jane Grey was one of these, for example. We understand what's in the history books and the guidebooks that the Tower of London was, of course, built by William the Conqueror. He started with the White Tower, and slowly the fortress expanded outwards over the centuries to the complex it is today. But what is always ignored by the history books is that this was also a site of mystical significance, revered by the ancient Celts and Druids long before the Normans. According to Celtic lore, Bran the Blessed, who was apparently the first king of Britain, he was the Welsh king because the original Britons were Welsh, was beheaded, and his head was buried beneath the White Tower. Now, law dictated at the time that as long as the head remained there, no oppression would ever come to Britain. Britain would not be conquered, basically. But sadly, again, according to the law, King Arthur reveals where the head is, and Britain is promptly invaded by the Saxons. This, interestingly, is where the legend of the ravens comes from. The tower, everybody knows that the tower famously keeps ravens and clips their wings so they can't escape. And as the superstition goes, if they leave the tower, Britain's monarchy will fall. In Welsh, Bran means raven. The Tower of London as well is also subject to an interesting legend, which is that of the Koh-i-Noor diamond. This is a massive diamond that is set in one of the crowns, a part of the crown jewels, of course, and it is afflicted with a curse that apparently affects only men. According to folklore, a Hindu description of the diamond warns that he who owns this diamond will own the world, but will also know all its misfortunes. Only God or women can wear it with impunity. Now, the history of this diamond is that for over 500 years, it was traded with by various empires in the Middle East and India, and everyone who came into possession of it was subject to violence, bitter and bloody conflicts, and they would ultimately either lose power or their lives. Now, it came into the hands of the British in 1849. It was basically looted by the British East India Company from the Sikh Empire. But then only about 8 years after that, there was a revolt in 1857, which pretty much destroyed the East Indian Company. So the royal family obviously heeded the curse, and it was given to Queen Victoria, her being a woman. And ever since, it's only been worn by women. It's been worn by Queen Alexandra of Denmark, Queen Mary of Teck, the Queen Mother, and of course the late Queen herself. Apparently Charles wants Camilla to wear it at his coronation next year, so we'll see if they carry on with the superstition.